Today I'm going to show you the basic of Android and quickest way to learn the Android. So there is here I have a few websites. So first thing is you should refer the developer.android.com and download the latest Android Studio. And your PC should have minimum 3 or 4 GB of RAM for running smoothly in your Android Studio. And it is recommended to have 8 GB RAM, but if you have 4 GB still it's okay. And you should refer this developer.android studio android.com for developer guidelines. So here you can find all the user guidelines and everything in this developer website. But the problem with this website is a very big thing, and lots of information is there which is sometimes not required. And if you want to learn quickest way, then there are the very good websites or very good resources like this CodePath. So you can search like on Google CodePath Android, you will find this website CodePath. So this is the very easiest way of core document of the Android. With this you can learn very easily. So you can start with these points. So it will be very easier to learn many things. Okay. So I will there is one more website which is more useful, that is tutorials.android. This is also very good website which having a very nice details and explain very specific information for functions and the layouts and the activities related everything. So you can refer this website also, tutorials point for Android. So these are the basic information before you start development. So you can refer these two sites, then it is more than enough. You can learn Android development within 10 days or 15 days or maybe in a week. It depends on your dedications. So let's start with Android Studio. So I have installed already this in my PC, and I think it's an older version. I haven't updated this, but to show you demo I'm going to use. So whenever you start first time, you can create Android Studio project. Here you have multiple options. So you can open existing Android Studio project and you can start a new Android Studio project likewise. So click on a start new Android Studio project, give your application name. Here I am giving a demo crest crest demo, my application name, and here you can give the package name. Package name is just a uniquely identifier for your application. So here I am giving crest.com. Okay. And if you want to go with the Kotlin support, so you should tick this check mark, otherwise you should not tick this, because there are two ways of building the application with the Java, and as well as you can write your code in a Kotlin. So if you not using Kotlin and if you check this, then your build process will be slower because every time it check for Kotlin. So if you are not using Kotlin, don't check this. Okay, next. Here you should only take API level 4.4 and above, or you can take minimum API level 5, because now 4.4 is older version. We should not support these, because handling the below version lower than 5.0 is a very difficult task. And for newer projects, because current version is Android 9, so we are already supporting a 4 Android version like 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So it's a 5 versions, so we should not support more than this. So the minimum version should be this. And target API, by targeting API 21, your app will run approximately 85% of devices. So this is more than enough. If you are supporting for Wear OS, Wear OS is nothing but the watch OS kind of things, TV OS. So these are not important at this time. So just select the minimum or target version 21. Say next. Here is a very interesting thing. Android provide you the gallery of creating a different kind of activities or screens in a general word, if I say so. If you want to create such kind of screens, you can select from here, so like a login activity, master detail flow. So in a tablet it look like a detail and side list kind of things, and portrait landscape. If you want to create a navigation drawer, you can create with this option, scrolling activity. So these are the kind of activities predefined, so you don't need to write code for these functionalities. You can choose one and all code will be generated. You just need to write your content of that specific thing. For example, right now I'm just taking this basic activity. Here we will get in our screen one button with this blank screen. So let's move on. Next. So it will ask for what will be the name of that activity. By default it gives the main activity. Any screen in the Android call as activity, so we are calling this activity or this screen as a main activity. Or you can use fragment also. Fragment is a part of the activities, or we can take multiple fragment in a one activity. So fragment, we should use only fragment for our development. It is good thing, so use as a fragment, check mark it. Next, so all code will be generated for you for this kind of a screens. Let's finish. It will take some time and it will start your project. Always read these tips, because lots of good information in these tips. People always ignore these tips, but we should leave. So here we get the control H option for navigation or type hierarchy. I will show you what is the control H option in later. So once you started your project, here you will see this is the your first view of Android Studio. Here you always see the running process. If you click on this, you will get the pop-up of this running process right now. mm, right now it's not showing. Right now it's not showing. I'll show you. So here you can see this running pop-up. You don't need to click on this, it will be automatic. So I will give you the brief idea for this complete Android Studio application. So while it's a building, I will give you that. If you want to go in setting, this is the preference. Here one most important option is you should write offline. You will get, so this the Gradle offline is very important option. So Android Studios is an intelligent kind of IDE which collects the libraries online from the centralized servers or Maven server kind of things, Google servers. If you want to work offline, then you have to tick this, then it's not download from the server, but at least you have to run this in synchronized in online mode, then you can put your Android Studio to offline. So right now we don't putting it offline, but you can put it offline if you don't want. So once everything sync, you will get this kind of information. This information can be change the view, so likewise this can be view or you can have this view. So these are the two views, and here is your project is generating. Okay, these are your project files, so still it's generating your project. So here we have the build option. Here you can clean your project, rebuild your project, make project, and here is the run option. So you can run your project with this option or this option, both are same. And you can run your project in debug mode. So if you have any debug point set in your code, you that debug point will get get the control. So right now our project is completely synced. So there are two things here. These are the Java files and these are the resources files. So I'll tell you what is the Java and what is the resources. In Android, whatever we are working is or whatever we are see on screen is nothing but the XMLs. So these are the XMLs. Here you have two options like design and text. So for example, if I go into the activity underscore main.xml, if I go into design, I see this screen. So this screen is designed using these XML files. So this code you can also preview from the here. So if you want to change some color or anything here, you can change the properties of this view, so it color will be changed. For example, I will show you one example: background tint color primary. So now you see this color is changed to green. So it was previously by default color of pink. Likewise, you can change anything you want, properties for your view. So anything in the XML item is called the view. So view or layout. So these are the coordinate layout and these button is the view. So this complete screen is the one layout, that is the coordinate layout. Here you can also see the hierarchy of your layouts and views. Clicking on that, you can select that particular item. Here you can see the graphical view of or the properties. Let's say if you don't know the property name, via here likewise I give you the background tint. So I know, because I know this property, I'm using it. But if you don't know this property, you just need to go select this, and here you will find all the properties for this views. So you don't need to worry about the properties whether you know or not know. So here also you can change the color like this, like background tint mode and background tint pink. You select some blue color. Okay, so here it is blue color. So here also you can set the properties of the view. Now you are seeing two screens, so there are two things. One is the design and one is the blueprint. You can go only for design, or you can go for both, or you can go for only blueprint. So blueprint is nothing but the kind of design only, so it will be just easier for you to work on it. The next thing is that the Java file, so whatever the functionality or business logic is there in your screen, it is maintained by this Java file. So this XML file and this Java file is connected via this method, set content view method. Here you see this activity main. Here this activity underscore main file XML is connected here in the set content view. So there are some callback method like on create, on resume, on pause. There are lots of callback method used. So whenever you call, whenever you run your application, the first activity is run. So how the application get to know the which is the first activity and which is the second activity, and what permission your app required, is all defined in the manifest file. So this is the manifest file. Here you define which is your first activity. For example, here you see this launcher and main. This activity is nothing but your main activity. So this Java file, this main activity is your actual initial or first activity we are saying to this in this file. So let's say if you want to take some other activity or B activity, you can just simply create by right click on it and create go and ask for new activity, basic activity. So in this basic activity, no, instead of basic activity I'm going for some other kind of activity. Let's say basic empty activity. Okay, so this empty activity I will give the name empty activity. we should give a proper name to any screen. So whatever the screen do, we should write the name. Name should be first letter capital or camel case complete name. Okay, so now I have defined this second activity. So if I go into the XML, here you see the first activity is my main activity, and it having different option which says that it is the first activity. But this the second activity, the empty activity, doesn't have any option. So it means that it is not the first activity. It is just empty activity which are we are using in our application. So this is the general introduction of our application. Here are few more points that I would like to share you. So code is generating, it's taking time. So let's give some time. Here are different views we can change. So currently we are using the Android view. This is the standard view, but if we want to do some other kind of want to see some other kind of files present in the project, so we can go into the project view. So this will show us a different file structure, the same thing but in different style. It is just organization kind of things we see by changing this. So organization is change if we change. So these are the Java file, and these are manifest file, which is the root of our application. Based on the manifest information, our application execution flow runs on, goes on. And these are the resources. We saw that layouts things. Drawable things is nothing but the drawable or the assets, image assets we can put into this. So if we are using some image in our screen, then we should put that images into the drawable. These are the menu. If we use menu in our application, menu items like things, so we can define here these menus. So it will look like this. Here you see the setting menu likewise. And here is some MIP map is a kind of icons for the launcher. And here is the values. So this is most important thing, the values folder. It contains colors. So if you are going to use some colors in your application, then you are supposed to define those color here and use this color name in your XML file. For example, if I want to use green color or blue color for this button, so I am using here color design default color primary. So if you see at the red color means I am referring this file via this style of writing or this tag. So at the rate color refer to this color file. If I write at the rate diamond, it will refer to that diamond file present here. If I write at the rate string, it will refer to the string file. So for example, I am referring here at the rate color dot primary. So it means that there is a color defined in the color dot xml. So let's check whether the color is defined or not. So here I use color primary. So when I go into here, I see this color dot primary. Let's say if you define some new color, say color new, then you can use this color in your XML. So always use this color from defined color.xml. Likewise, you can define dimensions. Dimensions is nothing but the dimensions of your views. So if view having some padding of some dps or some margin kind of thing, so all those should be defined in this file. String is nothing but the string used in your application. String is something like the text. So if you use multi-string, multi-language, then you can provide multiple string files. For example, your application support Chinese and English. So same string file you will define two times. One is in Chinese, one is in English. So the key is always same for app name, but the value will be changed, Chinese for Chinese or English for English. So this is the type. Style is nothing but the style we define in our values.xml. Style is defined. So whenever we are going to use some views and we want to have some common style, then we should define that style in style files. Likewise, the most important part of our application is this, the Gradle. Our application build process is maintained by this Gradle. So here is this Gradle. So Gradle is the kind of groovy language or kind of a special script language we can say, which build which may which is handling the our build process of our application. So here we have some defined things like which compile version we are using, what is the minimum SDK. This is the 21 which we have selected while creating the project, and what is the target SDK, that is the 28, like version code, version name, these are the things. And if we are using some libraries in our project, then we should use or define that library in here, implement and the library path. So this library is defined in the Google or Android repository. It's download automatically when you online, and it available at the time runtime. So if you are going to use some new library, just declare your library here, and here is the synchronization process. You will get the, let's say if you change something, for example I am changing this to 2, you will get this sync now option. So whenever you say sync now option, it will synchronize and download the latest version of 2, kind of thing. Okay, now to run your application you need to just create your emulator. If you have, let me revert back this thing, try again. Okay, so first you have to create your emulator. Here you can create with this option. I have already created this emulator. Creating emulator is very simple task, just run it once, and your emulator will look like this at the initial stage. Let me close this application. It's still loading. So meanwhile we can say run. So run, this icon is for run. So whenever we click on this, it will show the available devices. If our emulator or if we connected device, it will show here. We can select that device. If we are using a device, we need to enable the debugging mode from the device. There are the option in our device. For example, let me close this. So our app is running. Here we can see this status of running application. Here is message. So meanwhile I will show you the developer option. Go to setting, or you can find a YouTube videos for the developer options. Once this build process is complete, you will see your app running on this device. See, your app is run now. This is the your app, and no, this is not your app. Just hold on. Your app is still running. This is still, it's downloading or texting. Its download process is not complete. Once this process complete, your app will launch. It's almost completed. First time it's taking time. Second time it won't take this much time. It will run very quickly. Second time. This is installing our app into this emulator. Now 1 2 3, it's run. So here is your application with green button. Click and hello world. Okay, so we will have more detail in next videos. Thank you so much for your time. Have a nice day. Happy coding.